Welcome to the Middle with Kelly. Now on today's episode, we're going to be talking about juuling. Yes, the verb juuling, that stems from the brand Juul, an e-cigarette company that started in 2015 and blew up. While their intention was to create a slick, easy access device that could wean people off of their nicotine and tobacco addiction, it has turned into a phenomenon amongst 13 to 18-year-olds, and even those of legal age. But what I'm going to be doing today is sitting down with two separate people who have used cigarettes, vapes, and Juuls in their lifetime. Now, like I said, the intention of this product was to wean people off of addictive substances and do it in a very convenient and not in-your-face manner. But as we'll see, and from the research I've done, a lot of teens find this, appealing. So is it because of the marketing? Is it because of the fruity flavors? We're not really sure. And we don't actually know a lot of the side effects of juuling. So we're going to get into it with a few conversations with people who have experienced a nicotine addiction and a rush, and let's see what they have to say. First, I'm going to talk to Brian, who has also been researching the effects of the Juul and how many high schoolers have been juuling. Here we go.
I think my way of justifying me smoking a Juul was it doesn't have tar, it doesn't have as many chemicals that come with smoking a cigarette. So I was like, it's just an addiction chemical, and I'm older now, so I don't know so much about addiction.
So were you of legal age to smoke Juuls or cigarettes when you were doing it, or were you younger? Initially to smoke.
Age to smoke, I was legal.
Okay.
Yeah,
when you started.
18 or 19.
Yeah, so at the time it was 18. Mm-hmm. So that also leads into now, I know we discussed this personally, but in certain counties in Long Island and Westchester, they changed the year to 21, and now recently this month they're actually going to limit, Juul flavors, Juul itself, only selling in vape shops. So do you think that's going to stop people from juuling or stop underage juuling?
I definitely do think that the move for stop selling or stop distributing flavored pods, I think that will definitely decrease the amount of Juul users, because a lot of people don't like classic flavors, like tobacco flavored or Virginia tobacco or menthol flavored.
Yeah.
Those are, especially tobacco, I think is one of the least popular ones, and I personally hate it.
Wow.
So if smoking a cigarette, you don't really do it for the flavor. You just do it, one, for the addiction, second, because the act of smoking, and whereas for the Juul, you get both the flavor and the feeling.
Gotcha.
And flavor's not there, especially for kids who are just starting out with Juuls and not cigarettes. I think that would definitely decrease the amount of younger Juul users.
You've done a little bit of research with that. You've seen, in general, teen smoking, smoking cigarettes has gone down the past 15 to 20 years, but now it's this increase of, what was the appeal for you? Was it to stop smoking cigarettes?
I started out smoking cigarettes just in the social setting, so I would occasionally smoke cigarettes with my friends whenever they go out for a day. And my closest friend at that time, he has been smoking since the 8th grade, and he's the same age as me.
Oh, wow.
And so when I started to get addicted to smoking cigarettes, I was like, I can't do this, because ever since I was young, growing up, my dad has been smoking cigarettes, and I absolutely hated it when he smoked a cigarette. And I really hated the hypocrisy that I was living through it. So I really wanted to get off of it as soon as I can. So thankfully, after 1 year, I got off of it and transitioned to the Juul. But my initial intention for the Juul was because I wanted to switch off into cigarettes. And eventually I actually got my friend who was addicted since 8th grade to get off the cigarettes.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. So now how long has that been, like, for him? Has it been a long...
Oh, how long did it take for the transition?
Yeah, the transition.
I smoked cigarettes for a year. I think about 3 to 4 months.
Oh, okay. Of like a combination?
Yeah,
or,
so I would Juul, but then not occasionally, more less frequently than I used to. I would like want a smoke.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's really good. Yeah. We also said before, like, the flavors aren't going to be as popular, but I've noticed that there's like these vape influencers and other people who go with like smaller brands, so it's not the actual Juul brand, but it's still like juuling and it's still the same.
Yeah, there are so many different brands that have like bloomed in the similar direction that Juul has. Like, it's sleek, the module is very discreet, and it's very easy to use. And a lot of other brands have followed suit in that direction. But what is it? Like, even if other off brands like try to make Juul compatible pods with different like flavors, it's just not the same. Like
as having a Juul, like the brand name.
Yeah.
Or
because like I've tried other flavors because like there are other off brands that have made multiple various flavors that are not available by the Juul brand. Like, I've tried those, but the quality isn't the same. Like, some of them can run smoother, but the flavor isn't as pronounced, and some of them you can't really feel the nicotine rush that you can feel as well. Or others are maybe too much. And there was one certain case where I tried a certain Juul compatible pod brand, and I found out I was allergic to one of the chemicals that was inside the pod.
Oh my goodness, were you okay?
I was coughing a lot. Like my throat started to like get really congested. I couldn't breathe very well, and that was like the first time I ever had an allergic reaction.
Oh my goodness, that's scary.
It was really scary.
That's scary.
I really thought I was sick. The longest I was like, I stopped using that pod itself and went back to like an official Juul brand, and I started to immediately feel better.
Wow.
So I made the connection.
So that's like just a case though that once people stop using the Juul because they're gonna go for different flavors, like there's so many risks out there. Oh my goodness, that's scary. I'm glad you're okay.
Yeah. See, for Juul brands, like they keep it consistent or as much as possible. And whereas for different brands, I would say like different module brands, like I've seen like Bo, Fix, Soren, all those kind of things. Like, yeah, they're also almost as equally convenient. It's just that some of them can be a bit bulky, some are weirdly designed. Nothing is as simple as the Juul USB-looking type stick.
Yeah. Okay, so then I'll ask you a little bit more about like your project. That's cool. So like I don't know, just kind of tell me more about like the research you've done or how you feel after looking at like high school kids who are using the Juul, or your attitudes towards that in general. Yeah.
So basically what I'm trying to do is, I would say more of an informative campaign. Not
pushing an agenda.
Yeah. But I guess it could be kind of a social awareness. But I wanted to bring awareness of what the Juul is, what ingredients are used in it, and what kind of potential dangers it brings along with it. And I want to kind of direct all that information towards Juul users, the younger generation that can potentially start using Juul, and also especially towards the parents of Juul users or just younger generations. I feel like a lot of parents neglect or just overlooked the dangers of the Juul, because they may look at it and think, oh, it's just a USB looking thingy. If you smoke it, it's just water vapor or oil vapor. Like,
do you think the parents know that their kids are juuling?
I mean, I've seen some cases where parents have known. Like one of my doctor actually has a kid, and he knows that his kid has Juul and uses it.
Wow.
And
yeah.
he's adamantly against it, but he doesn't like actually forcefully take it away from him or anything. He just tells his kid like, hey, don't do that. It's like really bad for your health and kind of thing. And same with my parents. Like my dad has been smoking cigarettes for years. When I told him like I Juul, he was like totally okay with it.
Oh, okay.
Whereas in the mall, like she was initially like, what, like,
yeah.
excuse my language, like what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
But since like my dad was okay with it, she eventually became okay with it, and you know, like, they just like see like they all have this sense of complacency in a way with the Juul. Like since there's no like
I was gonna say the lack of information and studies. It's only been around since 2015, the official Juul. Yeah.
So like since it's so new and there's not enough more information and not enough like warnings and dangers that are warning the parents or just the general population, I feel like a lot of people just overlook it and just see it as a kind of like a toy. And so for me, I just like researched mixed statistics. I even surveyed about 50 students on our campus, and then I also surveyed 100 students from my high school using my brothers. And I was more so shocked finding out that there were almost 75% out of 100 kids that own one and use Juuls.
It's crazy.
Which is absolutely nuts.
Meanwhile, it's 21 plus to have one.
Yeah.
And to purchase it. So it says a lot that that many students can actually own one. And
I guess like for future research, I guess I could also gather data about which flavors are most popular, what the appeal is for the young generation.
Yeah, I know that they argued like, oh, we don't have cotton candy and we don't have lollipop flavors, but I don't know. You still have fruity flavors and
like even though a lot of social media has like warnings saying like Juul is only popular because it has flavors like whatever the FDA was saying like the Juul was intentionally marketing towards the young with the flavors, but I don't think it was intentionally to market towards the young, but it definitely has a direct influence into appealing towards the young.
I think the first time I heard about Juuls was probably like 2 years ago, maybe. I'm not quite sure. And I heard about it from all the advertisements that are all like, you know, every gas station, you know, is selling like a Juul and like all the electric cigarettes and stuff. And there were the other ones that were like called Blue or something. And it was like the little thin ones. And they had the different flavors. I never tried those because I didn't try smoking at that point. And I remember I knew kids that were younger than me that all of a sudden had Juuls. And I was like, I'm never going to get one. I'm never going to do that. And, you know, I vaped before I ever picked up a Juul. And I had like a regular tank. And I had juices and stuff. And I did cigarettes from time to time, but not like I bought my own pack. I was like bummed a cig off of someone else.
So did you ever, like at some point though, before you Juul, did you consider yourself a smoker, or did you like take in a certain amount of nicotine a month?
No, for me, I never considered myself a smoker. Like oh yeah, I smoke. I was more of the socially, like if I'm out at the bar and I really shouldn't be out at the bar, but I am anyhow. Yeah, I'll take a cigarette, but I'll smoke it like a cigar because I never really smoked cigarettes properly. I always smoked like a cigar. Like you inhale with your mouth and you hold it in your mouth and just blow it out. Yeah. I never, because it tasted bad and it hit the back of your throat funny, and that was obviously the nicotine, and it was too much. So using the vape, it was a lower dosage of nicotine, and I noticed that when I would do that more often, I got the oral fixation of always having to use the vape and always needed like a little bit of nicotine, because I felt it if I wasn't using it like during that day, I'd get like a big headache and stuff, and like it was like the need of like caffeine withdrawal.
So that was a vape though.
Yeah, from like vaping, just like needing that nicotine fix. Because I mean, I never got that from having a cigarette because I never smoked them properly. But a vape is the alternative.
So then, when did you switch, or like what was the appeal of the Juul?
So the transition happened on accident. My mother had found out that I was using a vape, and she was so against it. My family's very against like tattoos, smoking, like, you know, excessive amounts of alcohol. They're very against it. And of course I'm the oldest, and I'm like, I want to do what I want to do. This is my own path. And I totally do that kind of stuff. I've got tattoos, I smoke, and I will consume large amounts of alcohol when I shouldn't. But she threw out my vape, and I was going through the nicotine withdrawal, and I had met up with one of my friends. He had 2 Juuls, and he left one in the car, and, you know, I had like half a pod, and it was charged, and I had, you know, was going to go and bring it to him and drop it off, and I used it, and I was like, oh, this is so convenient. I really like this. It's much smaller than what my vape was, because my vape was like really big and bulky, so I had to always hide it somehow in like a bigger bag. And the Juul now, I just stick it in like a small pocket, stick it in my bra strap, like it's you know, invisible basically. And you know, I gave him the Juul back, and he had another one which is the one that I use now, the body for it, whatever. And he was just like, yeah, you can use this one. Like, I only need one of them, but, you know, so here's this one. And I started using it from that point forward. Mango pods all the way, though. I'm using mint right now, and I'm struggling. It gives me the same fix I need. I'm looking for it. It's giving it to me, but it doesn't taste the same. Like, I like that, you know, that little hint of fruity, like, mango taste to it.
So do you feel like you'll stop using it? Because they're not going to make mango anymore.
I know, and it's a struggle. It's a struggle. I'm really tempted to write letters to Juul and tell them that they cannot discontinue mango. It's just like a crime against humanity. Like, how could you possibly do this to people? Because the fruit medley literally tastes like Barbie legs. Why I say that, it tastes like plastic, and just saying like it's Barbie legs just sounds much better. So.
It makes sense. Like fruit medley, Barbie legs, pink. Yeah.
Pink, that kind of thing, yeah. So that's what it tastes like. The mint tastes like menthol cigarettes in a way. Mm-hmm. I've never tried tobacco, so I don't know. Creme brulee I'm not a dessert type of person for like flavors for smoking. I love creme brulee. On the other hand, like actual food, sure, I'll eat it, but smoking it is not my forte.
So do you feel like you'd stop juuling then? Because they're not going to make mango, or like because the flavors aren't going to be as appealing?
The flavors aren't going to be as appealing, so I feel like I will probably get rid of my Juul and switch over to the Boulder.
What is that?
Okay, so the Boulder is literally, it's $15.
And
there's other ones that are like smaller than the Boulder, but it's like how the Juul is like almost like a pen, a little bit longer, and you press the button, and it uses a salt nicotine, I want to say, is what the solution is. And basically it's a little bit better for you in a sense, and
that's what they're telling you.
Well, it's better than what the Juul juice is. So, because that's literally just like nicotine juice. Like, this is like a different kind of thing for it. And you have a pod, and you constantly refill it. You get a bottle of the juice, and it will last you like months. The bottle, because it's bigger, unless like you're using it nonstop.
So it's kind of like a vape. You have to refill it?
Yeah, it's like a vape.
Okay.
You have to refill it. It's also like the people who are really cheap and have vape juice and vape their vape juice through their Juul, like I do.
Oh.
When I'm like really tight, you know, I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, I'm not going to eat today, so I'm saving my money for like Juul pods. Like I can't do that. Like I need to eat. So I use my vape juice for my pods, and it, you know, it doesn't deliver that same kick that like nicotine does, and it gives you the same rush to your head. So I prefer, you know, regular Juul pod. It's like the 5 milligrams or something, like mg or whatever.
Yeah. Oh yes.
Yeah.
Per
So
one. Yes.
and
So how is this new, the Boulder? How is that like?
the
compared?
Boulder,
Does it have more nicotine, less? Like, do you know?
it's the same as how like vape juices go 0, 3, 6. I think it's 9,
Okay, so you could
12.
do 0.
Yeah, you can do 0. For a lot of vape juices, and it's just
But
like
it
how
would be
hookah
almost
is.
like a Juul, but 0 nicotine.
Yeah.
Wow.
When before my mother found my
if you
vape.
transition out or if you transition into smoking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Transitioning in before my mom had found my vape, I had started off with a lot of 0s because they were like fruity flavors, and it was a way of like, oh, I can like, you know, go around and I don't have to like, you know, be using like actually having nicotine through my body. Like I don't have to do that. Like, okay, whatever. And then the other times where I was like, you know, I really need something. It's, you know, it helps with like anxiety and like needing to calm down because it kind of gives you that feeling. So that always helped because I definitely have a lot of anxiety, and at the time I never went to anyone to like help me with it. So I kind of self-medicated in that sort of way. So shouldn't have, but I did anyways. And it worked for the time being, so it was fine.
That's cool. I didn't know about this.
I just found out about the Boulder the other day because my friend bought it, and she was just like, and I tried it, and they had 3 different kinds at the store where my friend works, and there's like a sour apple or something, and it tastes like sour apple, like candy in a way. Like that's what you taste, and the taste is really there. It's not one of those like, oh, I kind of taste it. Like it's really there. There's a Sour Patch kind of one, or Sour Punch straws, like it's blue, and it really tastes like the Sour Punch straws that you get from like Airheads.
Yeah.
And that's really cool, but I feel like I would get sick of it. And then my favorite is the lemon pound cake, and it tastes like, I love lemon. It's like it tastes like it's something sweet in your mouth, and you have that lemon taste. Like it literally feels like you actually ate like a piece of lemon pound cake. It's so good. And my friend who works at the store, he let me use his Boulder, and I was like nonstop for like 10 minutes, and he was just like, Victoria, you're gonna get fat from using it because you're eating the whole cake. And I was like, I'm not really eating it, so there's no calories in this, doesn't count.
Wow. So now can that could probably be sold to people under 21 because there's no nicotine, or
No, because in vape shops you need to be 21 or older in order
to enter?
Well, you can enter underage
To buy anything.
but to buy anything you need to be over 21. Yeah, when I go to my friend's store, we see a lot of kids that are underneath the age of 21 that come in and try and buy stuff. Like at our vape shop, they have a pool table and stuff, so you have to buy something in order to play. And a lot of times the kids just come in and they just, you know, give $1 on the table, and so they're able to play pool because they do have a sign that says like $1 for samples, but they're not sampling anything. They just want to play pool, and it's better than them going and vandalizing something. So we prefer that.
That makes sense.
But yeah.
So I have a question for you then, because I think we both kind of acknowledge juuling is a little bit more, not immature, but it's like really popular with high schoolers and like younger than 21.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So do you think that since the like mango, like a bunch of flavors are now not going to be sold anymore, and in Westchester County and Long Island, they've bumped the age up to 21 since July they did that. And do you think that it's going to be like less appealing to Juul, and maybe people go to Boulder, like other things to...
Yeah, I think kids are going to definitely try and go and find something else to use. And as they get older, they're getting closer to the age where they can, you know, buy a vape or a Juul or like other Juul things. And to me, I feel like kids shouldn't be using this stuff in high school. My brother's a sophomore, and the girl who, she asked my brother the other day if he had a pod, and my brother was like, what the fuck do you mean, do I have a pod? A pod of what? And she was like, a mango pod for my Juul. And my brother was like, you're a fucking idiot. Do you think I use it? My brother is a straight A student athlete. He doesn't do drugs, he doesn't do any of that stuff. And he's like, why in God's name would I have something that we legally can't even purchase? Like, why? And she was just like, whatever. But my brother texted me, he was like, I can't believe, like, these people, like, think that we have this. I'm like, hey.
Well, there's a large majority of high school kids who do it. So it is, even if, like, you know, you're a student athlete.
I mean, being older and doing it, I mean, I get made fun of, like, oh, you're getting your nicotine fix from a flash drive. It's like, hell yeah, I'm getting a nicotine fix from my flash drive. My flash drive fits everywhere. Does your vape fit everywhere? I don't think so. It sticks out of your pocket like you've got, like, a giant phone or something sticking out of your butt. Like,
true.
My thing slides, you know, right? If I wear a beanie, it sits right into the hat. If I need to stick it in my bra strap, it's right there. You know, it's convenient and it's small.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it, the design of it.
Battery life should improve, but you know.
Yeah. So you're thinking about, because I've heard about like all the different like knockoff Juul type things, but I didn't hear about the boulders. So that's cool. I was gonna ask if you used any of those before. Or just Juul.
I've used the drop. I've used the breeze. I've used the boulder. I've used a regular startup vape. I've used a regular pen. I've used, well, not like the actual like the weed pens that they have. Those are different. I'm pretty sure I have used them and not even known and been high, but pretty sure I did that last year and I didn't know. But anyways, that's not important. There's it's a vape and it has a tank in it and coils, and well, some of them have tanks, others just have the coils with the cotton and you drip on the cotton. But there's a button that you press either at the bottom or on the middle of it, and every time you press the button, that's when you inhale and you take in. So I used to have those. I had one with the thing on the bottom, and it was super pretty. It was all like this indigo blue color, and it had gold detailing on it. And I had it in my friend's car, and he was driving, and there was something in his cup holder, and it started like going like it was burning the coils, and he grabbed it and burned his hand, and the smoke like burned my eyes. So that was the end of that one. It melted like the battery and everything inside of it. It was really bad. Yeah.
So then, why, if you've tried all these different things, why go to the Juul? The conveniency?
The conveniency of not having to deal with that. Like, I mean, that literally left like, you know, he has like a small scar on his hand now from it. And like those are the things like I started out with. And there were all like these big like bulky things, and you know, you always had to carry them around. I always had a big purse with me, having to like stick it somewhere to hide it. And over time, just kind of getting sick of always having, I constantly got to refill. And as things got like smaller and smaller, like it just became easier to just grab and just go, not having to worry about like battery life, because I can bring the USB port with me. I can plug it into a laptop, plug it into the wall or something, anything like that. It's so much easier, and this like it's just more convenient for me to use. So
now, would you ever feel like it's a health risk, or
I mean, it's always going to be a health risk. Nicotine is a drug.
Yeah.
So, you know, as a kid, I was always just like, I would never do drugs. I'm never going to be that kind of person. And I never did any of those other crazy drugs. I mean, weed is legal in several states, so it's not like it's, you know, a drug. It's, you know, it's okay. And nicotine, I never thought of it as a drug until I started using, well, we've been it was when I was using the Breeze, and I realized, like, I relied on it so much more. And I think I kind of looked up some things and was like, okay, you know, I'm not like a cigarette smoker who's like I constantly need to, you know, smoke my cigarettes every day. I'm not going through a pack a day. Like, okay, you know, that's fine. Because to me, I thought cigarettes, all this, you know, nicotine, yeah, it's in cigarettes, but all these other toxic chemicals like rat poisoning and you have tar, everything's going in your lungs. I've seen my friends who are smokers with, you know, they smoke cigarettes all the time. And I mean, like a pack in like 2 days. And you know, they quit smoking and going through that whole withdrawal, like the amount of nicotine that goes, you know, into them with smoking all those cigarettes all the time. And that just, I mean, I've never had that withdrawal that they have. I've never been like sick. I've never had that. But I mean, like they're coughing up all the crap out of their lungs from the cigarettes. They're, you know, I remember one of my friends was literally coughing up blood and like crap. You know,
I've seen that, yeah.
And I, you know, he never told me that he stopped smoking, and I like actually thought he was dying. I was like, oh my god, I have to bring him to the hospital. He's like, no, I quit smoking, like it's okay, because he was complaining about like he was sweating, and it was cold out. He was sweating, and he had chills, and I was just like, you're dying. Oh my god, but he was fine. He just, you know.
Are you worried at all about the chemicals that might be in Juuls or other things besides the nicotine, like another aspect to it? Have you thought about that? Or
I've never thought about it. I knew when I first started vaping that some vape juices were really bad for you and they cause air pockets in your lungs. And I became really close with the guy who owns the vape shop that I always go to, and he created his own juices and stuff. So I asked him about the article. He told me about the article, and he was like, you know, be careful of like whatever it was, that some big scientific word for whatever it is, chemical. And I was like, okay, well, what is that? And I asked all these questions about, you know, how to be safe about these things. And I've never bought juice from anywhere else. It's always from him because I know he's not going to put chemicals and crap in his store. He's, you know, very safe about this stuff because he does want people, this is the alternative to cigarettes. You know, he has a sign that says, you know, fuck cigarettes on the wall in his store. Like, you know, we're very much against, you know, using cigarettes. It's the alternative to it to help you either quit or to transition you over from having all the other crap in cigarettes. So
then last question. Do you think there's a stigma around juuling and vaping, but it's not as much? I mean, it's clearly not as bad as cigarettes.
Yeah.
But do you think there will be a stigma around it? Do you think there is now? Like, how do you feel?
I feel like the stigma around it is more of, like, it's childish. Like, it's just, that's what it's visualized. That's what it's seen as. And it's like, you know, you're a wannabe, like, smoker. It's, you know, Juul, you know, it doesn't say it, but there other, what is it, Smart Talk or something that goes around saying, so, like, whatever commercial there is about getting kids to stop smoking, and it's like, whatever they do, and they're like, if people who use Juuls will turn over to start smoking cigarettes because you're going to be addicted to the nicotine, and in actuality, it's easier to transition from cigarettes to a Juul. I've done both, but I've never been like hardcore cigarette smoker and then transitioned over. To me, if I was to transition over, I find no desire to buy a pack of cigarettes and to use it. You know, you buy a pack of pods, which are four pods, and, you know, for $20, let's say. A pack of cigarettes, which is only 10 cigarettes, is $10, $15, whatever brand you're buying. And when you think about it, each pod is technically one pack of cigarettes. That's 4 pack of cigarettes for the price of literally like 1 pack of like actual cigarettes. Yeah. So to me, that's...
And especially when you compare that to like the nicotine gum, that gum is so expensive. It's like $50 for one.
Yeah. To get the gum, to get patches, to any of that stuff is so expensive. So people And even the commercials that they have on TV, they're like, oh, try this, to quit smoking.
Mm-hmm.
But, and then all the side effects that they have with it, can cause depression, can cause suicidal thoughts, hostility. It's like, I'd rather, continue smoking and give myself lung cancer than to have all these other side effects that'll, kill me even sooner.
Oh, definitely.
So I find that, using an alternative such as a Juul or a vape or any of the nicotine juices to help you stop using cigarettes is much better than, vice versa. 'Cause I've never in my life have met someone that's gone from one side to the other, like gone from vaping and juuling to cigarettes.
All right. Well, thank you so much for letting me interrogate you here. You're welcome.
After talking to Victoria and Brian, I realized it's not just a Juul culture. And yeah, I've been watching a lot of videos and paranoid parents talking about how their kids are juuling, but it's different than talking to actual people. People who have seen the vape culture, seen the Juul culture, and what you can do to stop or to help or prevent or whatever you want to do is talk to your legislators, talk to your government, and maybe do your own research. One more thing. You can form your own opinion on how you feel about the Juul, but at the end of the day, I don't think any of us want people less than 21 or less than 18 using it. I mean, if I were in charge of the campaign or the marketing strategy for Juul, I would have done the same thing. I mean, using social media to increase awareness. How else are you going to target people? More and more people are on social media. They were going after a demographic to prevent further smoking, using concerts and other events that may seem like targeting young people. Well, have you seen those events? And do you know someone that smokes and loves music? A lot of these things are heavily correlated with people who use tobacco or have a nicotine addiction. And it makes sense why they marketed it like that. I mean, making something look cool and less dangerous than cigarettes, but giving you a similar fixation, it sounds like a great idea. And it's convenient. It's not in your face. It makes you feel like, wow, why was I smoking? I need to stop. And that was what they were trying to do. I don't believe that Juul was intentionally trying to get 13 to 18-year-olds hooked on their product. I think it was an outcome of a successful campaign. But the success dove into something else. The success was not just in what they were trying to accomplish, but with something I don't think they predicted or expected to be. I mean, your entire product becoming a verb? It's impressive, but I don't think they expected it to be destructive in the way that it is. It's up to you to form your own opinion on juuling and how bad or how good it is, but we'll see the research in following years, and we'll see if this trend lasts. Thanks for listening to The Middle with Kelly.